Show y'all I could have rapped instead of playing basketball for real. You're let's do that. Ashkara. At the end of every unit, your teacher has the chance to teach a lesson about her lessons in a context to enhance. But what do you suppose our teacher has us do? He skips the lesson and makes us present a digital LEQ. Elocution needs historical evidence, reasoning that can corroborate and advance a complex thesis that Dr. John P. Iris would admire. Then we drop the screencast like a single that is fire. Student create a screencast for you to like, subscribe, and share. We know you've had all the John Green and Steve Heimler you can bear. If we had the most views by 10 p.m. Eastern on the 5th day, we earn 500 bonus points, which virtually guarantees an A. Without much more fanfare or ado, we present our digital LEQ. Swag.
Welcome to our digital LEQ screencast. Today, the topic being discussed is comparison, how belief systems affected the administration of the Safavid and Mughal Empire in 1450 to 1750. Now, before we proceed with the screencast, we're going to go over two big idea questions that you should be able to answer by the end of the video. The first question is, why is understanding how the different belief systems of Mughal and Safavid leaders essential to the comparison of the two empires? And the second question is, what methods did each empire take to promote their religion? Now on to our thesis. The Mughal and Safavid empires were known as two of the greatest Muslim empires and were both based in Asia. However, Safavid authorities believed Islam ought to be the empire's official religion, and Mughal leaders believed that other beliefs should be accepted. Therefore, despite both empires being ran by Muslim leaders, their different beliefs had different effects on the administration of their respective empires. Now on to contextualization, which should give you more perspective on the topic being discussed. The Mughal and Safavid empires were both known as two of the gunpowder empires due to their use of military to expand their power. During the time where these empires were being administered, core values and rules had to be set in stone in order to create a solid foundation for their government. These two Muslim empires helped shape the Muslim world into what it is today. Now on to our first piece of historical evidence, which is a quote from Akbar the Great, who was the first Mughal leader. The quote states, "My son, I love my own religion, but the Hindu minister also loves his religion. If he wants to spend money on his religion, what right do I have to prevent him? Does he not have the right to love the thing that is his very own?" And this piece of evidence is an avid representation of the beliefs that Akbar possessed, and it emphasizes his support for other beliefs in other religions, despite him being Muslim. This evidence corroborates the thesis because it proves that unlike the Safavid Empire, the Mughal leaders were more welcoming and accepting of other religions. This source is significant because it allows the audience to further understand the mentality of Akbar during his reign over the Mughal Empire. The purpose of this source was to provide more insight on who Akbar was as a person and how he used his beliefs and incorporated them into the administration of his empire.
As you can see, this is a map, not just any map, but the map of the Safavid and the Mughal empires. This map is used to show the closeness and proximity each of the empires were to each other. And this corroborates with our thesis because it shows how both of the empires were administered and created in Asia. This was a quote from a Muslim jurist inside of the famous Qazi court, which was a court system used inside of the Mughal Empire. And this quote states, "Dems do not subject themselves to the laws of Islam either with respect to things which are merely of religious nature, such as fasting or prayer, or with respect to such temporal acts as though contrary to Islam may be legal by their own, such as sale of wine or of swine's flesh, because we, Muslim jurists, have been commanded to leave them in liberty in all things which may be deemed to them proper according to the precepts of their own religion." And this quote means that in the Mughal Empire, people would not be punished by law directly upon the religious practices or religious behaviors or religious beliefs, and that they were left in liberty in all things which were deemed to them proper according to the precepts of their own specific religions.
The Safavids launched a very vigorous campaign to convert what was then predominantly Sunni population to Shia Islam by persuasion and by force. The Sunni Ulama, a religious council of wise men, either left or were killed. The Safavids also spent money to promote religion, making grants to shrines and religious schools, and most craftily of all. They used grants of land and money to create a new class of wealthy religious autocrats who owed everything to the state. This piece of evidence was taken from an article which talks about the negatives of religion of the Safavid Empire. The article gives a better understanding of the violence the empire took to ensure everyone was the same religion. This corroborates the thesis because it describes the intolerance of other religions and the measures Safavid leaders took to implement this new religion. This source is significant because it gives the reader very blunt examples of the methods that the government of Safavid took to get rid of other religions. This relates to the thesis because Safavid, who was Shia Islamic, didn't want anybody in their empire believing in anything else. This source also shows the lengths that the leaders went just to ensure everyone converted.
Okay, for historical evidence 5, we have a quote from Akbar the Great of the Mughal Empire. Akbar believed that all religions should be tolerated and that a ruler's duty was to treat all believers equally, whatever their belief. Akbar's government machine included many Hindus in positions of responsibility. The governed were allowed to take a major part in the governing. Alright, so this quote basically shows how Akbar the Great was so accepting of other religions, he even allowed them to hold positions of power in government. This piece of evidence tells us that the administration of the Mughal Empire showcased the recognition of different religions practicing their government, unlike the Safavid Empire, thus verifying our thesis. The point of view of this source allows us to really understand how the beliefs of the Mughal Empire's ruler impacted the entire empire's governance. AP World History Themes. This topic relates to the theme cultural developments and interactions because as a result of noticing the practice of other religions, Safavids went as far as killing others in order to force them to convert to Shia Islam. For governance, the Safavid government went as far as becoming tyrannical to enforce their religion. This topic also applies to social interactions and organization. After experiencing the Hindu religion, Akbar the Great requested a Hindu temple be built, which shows the adoption of a new cultural institution.
To conclude this video, we're going to revisit those big idea questions that were asked at the beginning of the screencast. Now that you've gone through all that information, you should be able to answer them. The first question was, why is understanding how the different belief systems of Mughal and Safavid leaders essential to the comparison of the two empires? Pause this video and try to come up with your answer. The answer that we came up with was, understanding the different belief systems of Mughal and Safavid leaders allows us to further see the contrast in how both leaders thought and how it affected the administration of their respective empires. Since their different belief systems was the biggest difference between the two empires, it is essential to the comparison of the two. Now on to our second question, which was, what methods did each empire take to promote their religion? Pause this video again and try to come up with your answer. The answer that we came up with was, the Safavid Empire took extreme measures of promoting their religion by establishing it as the official religion and by executing people with other beliefs. Mughal leaders did not take any drastic measures to promote their religion, but they actually welcomed and invited others. It could be a possibility that more people became Muslim because of how inviting and welcoming the Mughal leaders were. Now here are all of our sources to prove that we didn't lie at all in this screencast.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe.